The government can amend VAT or duties on imported items to help cushion price hikes. However, Prime Minister Pierre says this move may come at a cost to government. The public has witnessed a spike in goods at the supermarket and retail stores amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Pandemic-related supply chain disruptions and increased inflation are being blamed for the increase in prices. The UN's benchmark food and commodity prices index rose sharply on average through 2021 compared with 2019. For 2021 as a whole, averaging across the entire year, the FAO Food Price Index averaged 125.7 points, as much as 28.1% above the previous year. Pierre says while the government can implement initiatives to help lower prices, this may hurt its revenue.
We can adjust or amend the duties and the VAT paid on these items in St. Lucia. But that means that you have to weigh the circumstances. You have to weigh the consequences. That will cause a drop in revenue. What the government has to do is we have to do what is called a cost-benefit analysis and see whether if we lose that revenue, it will not have an effect on the economy, on the quality of life of the people of St. Lucia. Because the only way we get revenue is from import duties, from VAT, and from taxes. It's the only way we can collect any revenue, or loans. So that's what we have to do. So the idea of the people saying that we can do something about the cost of goods, that really is a fallacy. It almost doesn't make any sense because these goods are imported.
Pierre reminds the public that the prices of imported items are out of the government's hands.
The high prices of food, basically foods that are imported, we have absolutely no control over it. We have no control over it because it is what we call imported inflation. These prices come from goods that are brought out of the country, and the increases are due to circumstances out of the country. Circumstances due to COVID, circumstances due to problems with the supply chain. So we have absolutely no control over these prices when they're imported.
Despite a contraction in tourism activity in 2020, according to the Social and Economic Review, St. Lucia's food import bill was still $330 million. So amid the health crisis, how can the public reduce imported inflation? The Prime Minister once again made an impassioned plea to consume homegrown items.
What we can do is we can use what goods that we produce in St. Lucia. We can improve our food security by consuming locally produced foods. And even that may have an issue because in terms of if you have to buy fertilizer, etc., the price of these things are getting higher. And this is when I made a point about consuming our local food. And I used the point that we could use our bananas. I was ridiculed by people who basically should know better, but I guess it's political. So the answer is very simple. The government has to weigh as to the consequences of getting a loss of revenue vis-a-vis the cost of imported goods. Or secondly, we have to see if we can consume more of our local stuff, grow more of our food, buy more from our local manufacturers to see if we can avoid that level of imported inflation.
In January 2022, the FAO of the UN reported that world food prices fell slightly in December as international prices for vegetable oils and sugar fell significantly from lofty levels. FAO officials expect that high prices may ease off as production increases to match demand. Gina Filippi, HTS News Force.